Hello, my name is David Duffy. I'm a retired physician sharing my healing thoughts with you. Today, we're going to talk about denial. What does that mean in terms of health? Let's imagine a 50-year-old man who's very athletic. He played basketball and football in college. He keeps up with tennis. He likes to go jogging. And he feels like he's a very fit person. Without any warning, he has a heart attack and is rushed to the hospital with chest pain. They put him in the cardiac care unit. They give him pain medicine, and he's feeling better. And suddenly he's getting out of bed and trying to take off the leads and wants to go home. He wants to sign himself out against medical advice. Why is that? Because he cannot accept the fact that he's had a heart attack. He just cannot. He has total denial. And when this kind of situation happens, the cardiologist needs to call the psychiatrist, and they need to sedate him for his own safety, and then try to calm him down and help him understand that his condition is serious. People have momentum in their attitudes and beliefs. And when something stops them, when something changes, it is hard to adjust. It's hard to change. A similar situation would be you have a friend who's, quote, a social drinker. She likes to get together. She's smart. She's sociable. She's fun. You laugh. But it's too much. And when you try to kind of talk with her and tell her, you know, she's really drinking too much and she's getting a little high and she's losing control. No, I'm fine. It's not her. She's also in denial. She has a problem. She probably knows that, but she cannot face it. She cannot admit it to herself, and she resists treatment. Unfortunately, much of our medical pattern treatment program does foster denial. Part of our medical care is relieving symptoms so that you can keep going. The most obvious example is when you have the flu, when you have a runny nose and a sore throat, you can take the medicine to get rid of all the symptoms so that you don't have to stop. You can keep going, you can keep working, but basically you are suppressing symptoms, and in reality, you should stay home, not infect other people, rest, drink your liquids, and allow yourself to heal. Similarly with pain. You haven't had a serious injury, but you've overdone it. You have shoulder pain, you have back pain, you have knee pain, you have ankle pain, and they tell you just take such and such medicine to relieve the pain. Why should you suffer and keep going? That is not right. That is not good. You are risking more injury. This is a lie. It's not real. It's harmful. You can have the convenience of suppressing the symptoms that protect you from injury, and you keep going, and then you have the risk of making it even worse. Those are kind of everyday examples of denial. What about aging? As you get older, things that you could do before, you can't do anymore. What about that? How do we face that? You look older because you've developed wrinkles and spots. Okay, well, you can take the cream to get rid of the wrinkles. You can take the spot remover. If you look old, you can get a facelift. You can get a tummy tuck. There are so many things we can do for you so that you can stay young. Well, that also is not true. Now, obviously, we want to remain as functional as possible. It's good to be active. It's good to be able to do things that you can as much as is in your capacity. Okay, let's take a person who has heart failure. And he's not complaining. Whoa, no, he's not complaining. He sits in his easy chair all day with his oxygen. He has his water pills and heart pills. And he sits there and watches TV and eats all day. How is that? Because his daughter is taking complete care of him. He's totally dependent. Now that's not really a good idea. We should get him to do the things that he is capable of doing and help him take charge of his health as much as possible. Okay, you are aging. You assume you can do things. It's good to evaluate that situation. For instance, with your mobility, can you stand up, turn around, and sit down 3 times? If you try to do that, do you lose your balance? Do you have the strength to do that? How soon can you do that? Do you have to push yourself up, or do you have the capacity? As we get older, we need to evaluate our capacity to do things. You have a dream to fulfill. You want to do this. Well, let's try it out. Let's do a feasibility study. Let's see what you can do. Sometimes we've neglected ourselves and we're out of shape and we get short of breath and we have aches and pains, but we really kind of regret losing that and want to do something about it. Okay, that's a good motivation. What do? We need to see what we can do now, think what we would like to do, and make a plan to get there. If we are somewhat overweight, what can we do to change our diet and lose 5 pounds? If that takes a month, 2 months, whatever, great. You do something to solve a problem and you accomplish that goal. If you're 30 pounds overweight and you've proved that you could lose 5 pounds, let's go for the next 5 pounds. So there's a process of doing something to achieve a goal and accomplishing that. We want to be more independent, self-reliant. Part of denial is this product of society where we pretend to be people that we're not. I recall a couple. The wife was very beautiful, and she would spend a long time putting on her makeup first thing in the morning so that she looked gorgeous when her husband woke up. It turned out that he was loving an image of her that she kept going. He was loving a false image of her. And of course that marriage ended in divorce because, if she was having to make herself pretty because fear of abandonment or abuse, that would have been very bad. Okay, so we need to be more honest with ourselves. If somebody thinks you're good and you are asked to do something and you readily agree without saying, wait, no, I can't do that. No, I shouldn't do that. That's what we need to learn to do, to say no when it's being honest and healthy. In my family history, I came upon a couple named William and Sarah Overend, who were from Canada and were married in 1850. Over the next 17 years, they had 10 children, including one set of twins. Indeed, they were fruitful and multiplied. But nowadays, families are much smaller, and youth and virility is more measured by ability to perform recreational sex. And when men can't keep up with that expectation, there are a lot of drugs to make it happen. Again, that is pretending, and it's not a good idea. So, how do we accept ourselves? How are you doing? What can you do? What can't you do? What would you like to be? A mother who has had children and now goes through menopause is still a mother and has a whole life ahead of her. And as she is able to do things, she should embark on new opportunities, new interests, new skills, new talents. Okay? When the football quarterback has an injury or retires from the game, he often will become a sports announcer. There is a shift from what you can no longer do to what you still can do. It is my recommendation that as we get older and our situation changes in terms of our health or our career or whatever, we try something new. We learn a new skill. We have a new hobby. We want to make life meaningful. There is so much we can do within our capacity. But if we long for the good old days and have a kind of extended temper tantrum, refusing to accept our limitations and pretending, living in the past, that's very sad. And that is as much part of health as having proper exercise and diagnosis and treatment. If we are going to take life as a trial or a punishment or an endurance, that's not a good idea. If we're going to live life to its fullness, it's not a question of competition or winning or beating other people. It's a question of developing our own self, our own divine potential. And it's a kind of a private kind of thing, what we accomplish. This is not something to publicize. We're not going for Olympic aging medals. We're developing meaningful relationships, things, bonds of trust. If you have a skill and capacity that is of service to others, use those skills. I took care of a man in California who was a property manager. And he had a disease, I forget the details, that he had to retire. But then he became the handyman of a housing project, doing little jobs, being available, calling upon so that he had a purpose. It wasn't beyond his capacity. And that gave him an important role to play in his life. And he did that. I have had another patient who had serious problem with his mobility and his heart, but he would walk around the neighborhood and be friendly to the people and say hello. And I nicknamed the mayor of whatever place it was. Having a purpose in life is part of health. Knowing your capacity and staying within the boundaries that you've been given is part of health. Naturally, if you need medicine to function in a positive way, beautiful. But we don't want to take medicine in order to pretend to do the impossible, to pretend to keep up with a fantasy, to keep striving to achieve an impossibility, to feel useless and worthless if we can't achieve some unrealistic goal. As in my experience, part of being a doctor is not only making a diagnosis and giving medicine when it's appropriate, but talking with the patient and helping them see themselves realistically and in a way that appreciates the body, maximizes their healthy function, and helps them appreciate and accept the body they have been given. This concludes today's lesson. In the future, we'll be talking a little bit about cancer. So until next time, thank you and good night.